Thanks everybody for joining today's demo session on data engineering with GCP. I am Naveen Kondinya with 15 years of industry experience, pretty much into data engineering world, starting with a lot of different ETL tools, Ab initio, Talent, Informatica, and all. And then, I've played multiple roles throughout my career: data engineer, analyst, data engineering manager, currently working out as a solution architect for one of the product-based companies. I'm also a certified Google certified solution architect as well as data engineer. Without much ado, let's jump into today's session. Uh, Before we get into the session, I know people are from different backgrounds, so I just wanted to lay a foundation here. So what we're going to discuss today, it's
Naveen, sorry for the interruption. Nagarajan here. I have basic question. So solution architect means that is different. A data engineer is different. I just want to know the difference.
that is my role. The solution architect is a role, right? I would say a lot of data engineers, I guide them to do a solution there, right? So you get into a career once you are a data engineer, and you are a senior data engineer, and you have some certain level of experience where you can design what you call, right? So where you could design or drive a team, right? Team of 30 folks or 40 folks to build some large scale solutions. So solution architect plays that kind of a role. Data engineer is somebody who designs, builds, manages the pipelines, end to end data pipelines, in sense like to bring data from one or multiple environments to a target system, right? So I was just talking about my role there. So solution architect is a bit different. So
Hmm.
and data engineer, it's like a higher level of your data engineer, I would say, right? So
Okay. Okay.
all right.
Oh,
So what we will do today in today's session is let me just we'll just go through what total course overview will look like and how our teaching methodology will be, right? And what the curriculum would be, right? And we'll also touch base really basics of the basic of intro to GCP. We'll go through GCP console. And we'll also do a basic use case, but this is a real life use case, right? So when you say data engineer, how does his job role will pretty much look like, right? So we're gonna touch base one use case with a couple of products covered as part of the as part of today's session, and finally we'll open up for questions, right? So that's where, I mean, guys, please let's make this session interactive, right? So any questions you have, you can stop me in between, or we could take it up at the end, right? So whatever questions you got, I'll try my best to answer, right? So if you look at the objective of this course, right? So it's simple, right? So to equip everybody who is on this course well with the knowledge and skills which is needed for them to design, build, manage, data pipelines on GCP. That's the main agenda of this course, like main objective of this course, right? So, who are we targeting? I mean, like who should take up this course, right? Who should enroll of this for this course? Somebody who is recently graduated from a college, or somebody who has already data skills, like maybe data analyst, or or a data engineer as well, right? So you might be a on-prem or a different a cloud provider data engineer, and you wanted to excel your career in GCP, or you wanted to enter into some kind of data roles, right? So those are the guys who wants to enroll into this course, and there's no hard prerequisites for this course, I would say, but it's always good, like if you can understand data. That's how, I mean, day in and day out we deal with data. So if you have some fundamental concepts of data, right, that will be an added advantage. If you got some basic SQL, basic maybe some Excel skills to view at the data and to make some inference out of it, right? So that's more advantage. So what's key features and benefits for this course is you got to have good instructors with industry experience and with real time live, what you call use cases, day in and day out, how you deal with, and you get access to labs and pretty much, let's say uh, the entire course we're gonna do a real, hands-on, right? So that's the key features I would say. All our products, all the teaching methodology, what we ever do it, it's going to be a use case basis, right? For each and every product we pick up, what's the real life example out of it, right? So that's how we do it. And the course duration, it's going to be approximately 30 days to 45 days, right? So depending on the pace and depending on the um, projects we solve, right? And finally, right, once we're done at the end of the course, I gonna provide you some guidance where, if let's say you want to get yourself certified as a data engineer, professional data engineer, that definitely adds a lot of value to your profile, right? I can provide you some path or guidance where you could say, yeah, I could get myself certified, right? So that's where the overall course overview is about. What we're gonna learn as part of this course curriculum is, first, we're going to touch base big data and analytics fundamentals on GCP, right? So, what different analytics and big data engineering products you got on GCP? We'll brush up some skills there. We'll also do a basic intro to GCP. How does it look like? And then, if you look at the first three modules, we just put them as bullet points there. You can consider them as modules or chapters or whatever, right? So, if you look at the first three modules, these three modules talk about a product called Google Data Proc. This is one of the key products, key data engineering products on GCP. It's built on open source Hadoop kind of a project, right? So, on the during these modules, we'll try to we'll learn how to create a cluster. How do you run your jobs? How do you run your jobs instance code? I would say maybe I don't want to get into that kind of terminology. How do you run your data engineering code to do your tasks done, right? And how do you what do you call how do you schedule them? How do you monitor them? So those kind of basic things, right? So first three modules we're going to cover with one of the critical products of data engineering on GCP. That's Google Data Proc. And then we'll also the fourth module. It's on the BigQuery one. I would say this is your heart of your GCP. Believe me, this is one of the really interesting products. This is really a scalable data warehouse, data lake house, data lake, a lot of different terminologies in different contexts, right? So you could analyze petabytes of data just like that, right? So you don't need, forget about the word serverless here. What's cluster or what's serverless? But let's assume, we just have access to some environment where, you could analyze huge amount of data just like that in a scale, right? So that's a big query where you could store and analyze huge amount of data. After that, we'll also touch base on one another product. Or maybe if you look at the other three modules there, data flow, architecting, streaming pipelines and variable volumes. Similar to Dataproc, there's also another product called Data Flow on GCP, where you don't need to maintain any clusters or anything. You could directly create a data engineering pipelines to read data from different systems, right, to different target systems, and you could schedule and then run them. Again, you could do a real time pipelines, using messaging system, PubSub messaging system as well, right? We'll touch base of data flow in those modules, and the main intention uh, of any data project is something that once you have data collected, analyzed, stored, you wanted to get some insights out of it, right? So, oh yeah, I have some data which I've extracted from different sources. Now the data is available on the database, data warehouse. So what do I do next, right? So we're gonna look at few dashboards. There's some inbuilt dashboard tools called Looker Studio. Earlier it was called Data Studio. I'm sorry. Now it's called Looker Studio. So we're going to build some couple of dashboards to analyze how how you could uh, make some insights out of the data, right? If you look at the last third module, Bigtable, that's like a NoSQL database. So it's one of the key tables where Google search SEO, right? Google search engine works on. So we're gonna get some basic intro of Bigtable and how how we could get the data stored there and how it is different compared with BigQuery there and what type of in what use cases you have to pick, right? So and then we'll also touch base on machine learning models, basic machine learning models, and so, why are we talking about machine learning during data engineering course, right? In few companies, from my experience, right? So there is a very minor shift from a data engineer to machine learning engineer. Forget about a word called data scientist there, but sometimes the job roles overlap. So you have a data scientist who provides some kind of guidance to set up uh, models, and then as a data engineer or a machine learning engineer, you are required to run a machine learning pipelines or data engineering pipelines. So we will see, how you could run some ML models pipelines, and then one interesting product we'll touch base on. If you remember, we spoke about two critical products, data proc and data flow. These are programmable. I mean, these are like programming oriented products, right? So you need to have some kind of Python, SQL, or Apache Beam, or some kind of programming knowledge, right? So I mean, uh, even though there are a lot of templates available with you, which will go as part of this course, right? So the last product, which will go through a demo in some time, right? We'll see, based on UI based, right? How do you build some data pipelines? How do you read data from different sources? How do you write target to target system? And instead of writing code, you can build the pipelines using Visualpath, right? So that's in nutshell about course curriculum. I don't know if anybody has got any doubts. I'd like to pass a bit before going further. Is it clear? Not clear? How are you doing? I mean, in terms of curriculum.
One question.
I'm sorry, Soumya, did you say something there?
Yeah, I have a question. Are you going to cover cloud composure, airflow, those kind of things?
Oh, definitely, yes, right? So, Cloud Composer, okay, we'll touch base on Cloud Composer too. How do you schedule your pipelines, right? Now, thanks for bringing that up, right? So, you have a lot of different products as part of GCP. Now, again, when we spoke about three products here, in GCP itself, you got Data Prog, Data Flow, Data Fusion, and Cloud Composer to orchestrate your pipelines, right? Now, I don't know, right? We can cover it, or I'll provide you a guidance where we'll do an intro of Cloud Composer and a basic lab there. But in the interest of time, if we're able to cover it, we'll cover it, or else I'll kind of provide you some guidance, where you could further explore from there, right?
Yeah,
Does that
because
answer the question?
end-to-end pipeline, I think in many of the companies, this cloud composure is being used for orchestration purposes.
I don't agree with you completely. I mean, again, it all depends on company to company, right? It's not mandatory that uh, Cloud Composer is an orchestra. I mean, definitely, it's an orchestration tool to what do you call, get all the pipelines. Yeah, then we can add that up as part of our case studies, right? So if you see, uh, there will be few companies where there'll be few demos or few trainers who can focus on data fusion. It's one of the interesting products where now a lot of companies are moving towards configuration based programming. Now, let me just pause what I meant by configuration programming, right? So, let's say you are somebody who is a programmer. Now, you can write code and deploy pipelines, deploy data engineering pipelines, and maintain them. Now, you go to production. Now, I need to hire a lot of developers with programming knowledge. This is based on my experience with a lot of different companies, a lot of different customers. So what do I prefer? I prefer a configuration based programming. Now, once I develop a pipeline, I provide that to a maintenance team. It is easy for them to change the configurations rather than coding it from scratch, right? So I am with you somewhere there, right? A lot of
Yeah,
companies definitely
yeah,
welcome
yeah,
here.
yeah, I'm there.
You got it, right? Yeah. I don't know if that's there in Visualpath's curriculum to go on the Cloud Composer, but we could include it. That's not a big issue there, right? We can handle it, right? So, right. So we'll go through data fusion as a demo as well, and
And I'm going to have any project kind of a thing like
oh, definitely. Okay, maybe I don't know if you joined a bit late. Let me just repeat the teaching methodology how we want to do it. Every class, I would say 98%, I don't want to give 100%. Every class will be based on hands-on and a project. I mean, let's say we pick up a project, we pick up a product called Data Proc. Now, the demonstration or the learning is based on a real-time use case. Now, what I meant by real-time use case. Now, as an architect, I'll tell you what. You have a team of 7 data engineers working on a project where they wanted to bring data from a SQL server, and you wanted to cleanse the data and write it to a target warehouse like BigQuery. This is a real-time use case, believe me, right? So how do you do it? Now, this is a project. Now, this sometimes runs for maybe 30 days, depending on the number of tables, how used the tables are, what type of data it is, and all right. So, all the products, whatever we cover as part of this course, will be driven through project-based or use case-based with complete hands-on. So, let's say 1 hour is our session, we're gonna do like 15 or 30 minutes of what do you call theory, and then followed by hands-on with takeaway sessions for you guys, so that you could practice and you could come back and ask any kind of questions, right?
yeah, yeah. Because uh, I was asking because at the end of the day, when we sit for an interview, the interviewer will be asking like what kind of project you have handled, what was the overall structure. So we need to like
Obviously, right? Now, if you pay attention to my class, I'm 100% sure that you should be able to conquer this, right? So I'm not sure what level of experience you're coming up with. Now, on
I'm
the this,
actually Azure data engineer, so GCP is my first time.
okay, so you come up with data engineering background, so you could pretty much correlate. Now, this is a different cloud computing environment, but altogether it is on another product, right? Now, if you compare Azure Data Factory, you can compare that with what you call data fusion, which we're going to see a demo in a couple of minutes, right? So there's a lot of similarities. So without much ado, you guys can stop if you have any questions. So what's data engineering is all about, right? So if you talk about what exactly data engineering is, we already discussed about that, right? So it's like designing, building, and managing pipelines that will allow you to collect, store, and analyze huge amount of data, right? So it involves creating some kind of pipelines that could transform raw data into some kind of usable format for data scientists, analysts. They could build some analytics on top of it. Why data engineering is important? Right? So it is, for example, if you pick up ChatGPT or any Gen AI kind of models, right? So a company is trying to build up a product. Now they want huge data to be processed. I mean, to be available. That data engineer plays a crucial role in terms of collecting data, cleansing it, and getting in a proper format for ready for data analyst or data scientist, or somebody who wanna make some analysis out of the data, right? So data engineering plays a real crucial role, and once the data is there, you're gonna maintain that. Now, I would say eight in a team of 10, you have like 7 data engineers with 3 data analysts or one data scientist. That's the ratio, and that's how the critical data engineering is to the any business, right? So now, if you talk about what's basic uh, overview of GCP is about, it it's it's one of the cloud computing providers. If you see, there's 3 top cloud computing providers we have. AWS, Azure, and GCP. GCP is one among the um, critical things, where it can provide solutions on compute, storage, networking. Uh, I don't want to get into high level terms of compute, storage, or networking here, right? So let's say you are a web developer, or you are some kind of analyst who wants to build some basic dashboards, right? Or you wanted to build some data engineering pipelines, or you wanted to use Cloud Vision API, right? And to build some machine learning models, right? You wanted to use Cloud Translation API as a developer to convert language from English to French, right? So Google Cloud Platform provides you an opportunity, right? It's one of the cloud computing providers where you could build any kind of your software project, software solution out of it, and then you could bring that live to your what do you call get it deployed and get it usable format. The pretty interesting part of any cloud computing is you just pay for what you use, right? It is same for GCP as well. So let's say I mean, you don't need to own a what do you call complete servers, a complete computer, complete storage there. You just pay for what you use, right? Whatever task you do it, and then you kill it, you're not paid for it, right? So that's um, I'll say basic of the overview of GCP. We'll do a quick use case today. Guys, please stop me if you have any questions. If there is anything you guys are not able to understand here, right? Maybe I'll try to rephrase the way I'm doing it, and we'll just go it, right? So if you look at a basic use case in this one, we're gonna touch base on a high level 3 different products. One is Google Cloud Storage, another one is BigQuery, and the third one is Data Fusion, right? So let's say I'm a data engineer, right, and I work for a apparel manufacturing company. I'm a wholesaler. Now I have a lot of I'm based out in Mumbai or some Ahmedabad, right? Now I have a marketing team. What they wanted to understand is I have a lot of leads coming in now to say, yeah, I wanted this much amount of material, inquiries coming through a website or a phone or a email or anything. Now my marketing team wants to understand what are the different leads available for me, so that now if I could bring the data in a proper shape, what my marketing team, they can go look at the potential customer. Now I'll say, yeah, Reliance or somebody, Arvind, he's trying to look at my website and trying to make an inquiry, and I'll go and reach out to marketing team will go and reach out to that particular customer to get some business, right? So this is a really interesting and a useful and regular use case. I just changed terminologies a bit, but this is one of the real-time use cases, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at a file which is in Google Cloud Storage. We'll read the data. We will do a basic transform using Data Fusion, and we will load that into a data warehouse product called BigQuery. Now, even before getting into those products, let me walk you through how does a console, GCP console will look like. I hope you guys are able to see my screen. So this is the product. Uh, this is the Google code. Now, pretty much like I just signed into this, right? So you go to this particular link console.cloud.com, cloud.google.com, and it's gonna ask you your Gmail account, Google account, right? And then once you register with that, you get this kind of page. Uh, the beauty of Google Cloud Platform is you get some $300 credit, or in Indian currency, it's like $25,000, where you could practice a lot of different products along with the labs what you get from the Visualpath. So if you look at the the console here, you could communicate a lot of different products and services in this console. What you could look at it, you could communicate to the lot of different products in this console in three different ways. One, you could directly log in into this console, and let's say you wanted to look at a product, right? You can just click on it. Let's say if I wanted to look at the billing information, right? So you just click. If billing is enabled, it's gonna tell you how much um, cost you incurred and what different products you have used as part of it, something like that, right? So you could communicate using this. There's another option called Cloud Shell, where you could activate this, programmatically using some commands, some utilities. You could consume data, or you could interact with the Google Cloud products. There's also client libraries. There's also Google Cloud SDKs. You could use it, and then you could talk to the products on the GCP. Right? If you This is a basic dashboard. So, you could configure it. You could configure these cards as per your what do you call choice. This is a basic what you call cards dashboard which Google has recommended for me. There's one interesting uh, thing which we wanted to talk about, is something called project. Now, this is the for any Google Cloud data engineering project, for any project, right? So you'll have something called Google Cloud project. For Azure folks, it is similar to resource group, right? So um, what this project, it's like a logical container of different products and services. Now, let's say I have a very big company. My company is called Reliance, right? An example. Now you see no organization there, but the organization name would be Reliance. Now in Reliance, there are a lot of different departments: finance, marketing, HR, engineering, operations, right? A lot of different departments. So you could classify these projects into those departments. In between organization and project, there's something else called folders. Let's forget a bit. Folder is again, on a high level of project there. You can just think project as department, or like it's like a development environment, or a testing environment, or a production environment, right? So whatever we deal with, it will be associated with the project. So once you you get yourself subscribed to this console, you're gonna uh, have a project created, and you'll be able to do your hands-on on these projects. Right? Now, without much ado, let's jump to the three products which we are which we thought of discussing as product demo. So, Google Cloud Storage is one of the uh, storage products where you could store data, like in the form of tables. You can store data in unstructured way. What I mean by unstructured way is, let's say you got some PDF, you got some images, you got some videos, right? So you wanted to store such kind of data, right? Google Cloud Storage is like an object storage where uh, you kind of can store what you call huge amount of data. Now, this GCS storage, for example, if you look at your Google Drive or anything under the hood, it gets stored under the object storage, which is nothing but your Google Cloud Storage. right? So if I navigate to the Google Cloud Storage, there's something interesting called buckets. One important terminology. So buckets, we could, in a layman terms, you could think that as something like your folder structure. Now, for example, everybody has got PC. You have a, let's say you have a D drive, uh, and then under that you have something called music. That's a folder, right? Under music, you have a lot of different songs as a playlist or something. You have it, right? So let's consider bucket as some kind of high level folder. We will go into deeper terminology as we progress, as we may progress through the course, right? So if I just click this bucket, now this can hold tables file. Tables are the actual data, whether it is an Excel file or a CSV file or an image or anything. Now you can create this bucket anywhere across the globe, right? You could create them multi-regional, and you could access them. You could create this bucket in US, and you could access them from India, right? And anywhere, right? So this file is the one which we were talking about in the use case. So this has got some records where where it will consist of the potential opportunities for my marketing team to go and inquire with. Right? Let's go quickly on the data fusion side. Now we know this. We have this table available, leads. We wanted to see how a data fusion pipeline or a data engineering pipeline will look like, and how we can read data from this and load data to data warehouse. Right. So if I just let me just open up a sample pipeline or some pipeline here. So this is the product which I was just talking about, data fusion, right? So if you click this, if you open up this, I've created an instance where you could, as a data engineer, you could create a pipelines there, right? So when you just click instance, it's going to take you to a page where you could start creating data, data fusion or data engineering pipelines, right? Now, again, as data Google Cloud Storage, even this particular instance can be created in different regions. You have different level of editions available here, right? Basic edition, developer edition, and enterprise edition. This is pretty expensive product. Um, it's gonna cost you like $3,000 per month for enterprise edition, just for the licensing thing. And once you run pipelines, um, it's gonna add additional cost to your this thing. And maybe a lot of companies are investing or moving towards this because of the configuration program, right? So let's quickly look into a sample pipeline to read data from Google Cloud Storage and then write it to target system called BigQuery. Now, there are 5 modules available here. Now, in the interest of time, Wrangle is something, you could play around with the data. You could make some data preparation there and build some business rules. So using this integrate studio, you could build the pipelines. You can get the metadata of the pipeline using this, and you could manage and monitor the pipelines, right? So that's the basic uh, overview of the canvas here. If I get into basic uh, pipeline building thing, let me get started with a sample pipeline. Just click green button over there, which is going to tell me, if I could start creating a pipeline. There are a lot of additional features available here. We'll go through it as the course progresses. Let's say if I just click a button called create to uh, to pick up a pipeline, right? To start developing a data engineering pipeline, right? So it's gonna take me to a component uh, bar or a component plain canvas where I could start creating a pipelines. For example, let's say, as we know, our data is present in Google Cloud Storage buckets. So let's pick up the component. So the left side one is what you see. It's categorized based on the use case, right? For example, use case in sense whether it is a source or whether there's some transformation involved, there's an analytics or what's your target systems, right? And if you have any explicit conditions, then how do you want it to handle errors, right? So there's a lot of component, this like component studio where you could drag and drop the components here. So we picked up GCS component. Let's quickly configure this. Let me just go grab the file path, right? And then just um, so if you maybe let me just give this as a this is the component which we have just picked up. Now this talks about it can read data from GCS bucket. For every component, there's some kind of basic documentation. Could go through it, what this component does it, and there's also a help document, detailed help document. But let's try to provide the path here, right? So that's the file, and we know it's in CSV format, right? And we just select that as CSV, and let me treat the first one as header. I know the data has got header in it. I'm just clicking header there, and I'm just clicking validate to see if the connectivity is fine or if there's any issues or I'm able to successfully connect to the GCS bucket from the data fusion pipeline, right? So I could validate it. Let me try to generate schema and see if I could get the schema generated. Right. So forget about the extra underscores there. Data is not bit clean. So if you look at this table, it's got like this file has got 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 columns. The first name, the last name, and what company and what's their email, and who is the lead owner, who created it, and when was it created, right? So that's the basic uh, schema of your data. So and then let's try to do a basic transform there. If you remember earlier we spoke about Wrangler, Wrangle, one component where just navigating through. So the beauty of this component is you could go and try to wrangle the data based in UMO. Let's say I have a requirement to concatenate first name and last name, or I have a requirement in the email to make some changes in my email, right? Again, as I said earlier, right? It's more like a configuration based. So you can just go click Wrangle there, and it's going to give you the available Google Cloud Storage buckets for me. I can pick up the file which I wanted to wrangle. In this case, I know I'm interested in leads data. So I'm going to just pick up this file. Let me get this file loaded there. Okay. If you see, this is a basic 8 records dataset. It's got first name, last name, and what titles they come up with. And maybe that's the sample data we got. Let's say I wanted to add uh, something at the end of email, right? At the rate gmail.com, right? Let me format a bit. Maybe I'll try to add a concatenate at the end. Maybe I'll say at the rate gmail.com. Now I just click that, and let me click apply. You see this part of the code, I did not manually write anything, right? So this is automatically generated, right? So that's the beauty of this Wrangler component, right? So it generated for you, and then you click validate. You see there's no issues. We're good to proceed. And finally, it comes BigQuery. Right? This is one of the critical or interesting products. We'll do a good uh, hands-on or good deep dive sessions on this BigQuery product, right? Just connect to the sorry, I picked up a wrong one. Maybe I should have picked up this thing. I just connect this. It'll ask me to configure a couple of parameters. Now the data set is something which I'm interested in. Visualpath demo. You can consider dataset as a database or a placeholder for you to store your tables. Right? We did not go in detail what dataset is. Right? Table, I'll say leads underscore demo visual. Right? So I just click validate. Right? So let me just save this pipeline. There's an option called preview, just to see if whatever the development you have done, whether is it working as expected or not. And if I just click preview of it and I just click run, again, based on the configuration and based on the edition of the data fusion you use, it's going to be faster. I expect maybe it might take 30, 40 seconds uh, to run it. And if it fails, it's going to throw you out an error message saying, yeah, what's the reason if it failed, right? So if you look at the overall use case, we took uh, data from a GCS bucket, we transformed it, we tried to add a what if gmail.com at the end of uh, email column there, and we tried to write the data to the target system called BigQuery. It's a fair, simple pipeline. Right? This can be enhanced further as well. Right? So if I just try to preview data, it's gonna show how the data looks like before transformation. If I try to preview data on the BigQuery, you can see it how the data is looking like after the transformation. Right? So again, so for this pipeline, I don't want to go in detail about it now. This is a preview mode. For this actual pipeline to get working, you have to deploy it and you have to execute a pipeline. It might take 8 to 10 minutes the pipeline to run and to populate results. So I had an earlier demo, uh, sample demo, which did the same file. So once you deploy it and you just click run here, it's going to populate data to be. Now, before we take up questions, I'll just quickly go through the last product, critical products for data engineering. This is BigQuery. Now, let me just go back a bit. If you look at, there's a lot of ways you can navigate to the BigQuery console there. Maybe let me just click it from here. If I click BigQuery, there's a lot of options. Let's say you have a Python experience, you're a SQL experience. You can start analyzing your data using this BigQuery Studio. A lot of options, right? So BigQuery Studio is something where you can write your SQL code and start analyzing data. Data transfer is something like, let's say you have some predefined source systems, for example, Salesforce or Azure. What do you call data lake storage, AWS S3 buckets, right? And few source systems where you could directly bring data from, and you have few other services as part of the same product. You could schedule the queries. There's something called data farm, right? And you could administer the data product as well, right? So if you look at this thing, this is the project ID. If you look at the project ID, the name, it's the label, and this is the project ID. Now, when you log into the BigQuery console, let's say you're part of hundreds of projects. So in a real time scenario, right? In a real world, you'll be part of a lot of different projects, development, testing, a lot of different teams and all. So you could expand your project there, and you could understand, where your tables are. Now, for example, this Visualpath demo, we call this as a data set. That's a placeholder where you could store tables. Tables are nothing but it will help you to store data in terms of rows and columns. Right now, this data set is a logical, a physical container of um, getting the data stored there. And now I just have a table which we just ran some time back, right? And I could quickly look at the data here, right? This was run earlier, right? So you see capital gmail.com there, right? So if you look at this data there, you could query it and then you could make some analysis out of it. Let's say if I wanted to do a distinct on uh, last name, maybe last name, or maybe title, right? Let's do a distinct title. Wanted to see how many titles we got, right? So the different titles we got. So you could see there's 5 different potential customers with these titles are trying to make an inquiry to my apparel manufacturing, right? So what we did today, we went through how the course overview will look like and what curriculum will be. And out of 3 critical products of your data prop, data flow, and data fusion, we touch base on one product called data fusion, right? And how do you deal with reading data from Google Cloud Storage and writing data to BigQuery, right? That's a basic use case which we spoke about. And maybe I'll just pass a bit and I'll open up for questions. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask me. Based on that, we'll take it up further. Soumya, Bhuvan, anybody, any questions? Are you guys clear? Not clear?
Yeah, Naveen, I have one question. Today is my first day. So
Sorry,
I
Soumya, can you please be a bit louder? Your voice is not uh, completely uh, audible. Yeah, go ahead, please.
yeah, so I have one question. Today is my first day. So I just
Mm-hmm.
have want to know like for this curriculum which you are covering, so will this
Mm-hmm.
curriculum be enough for the certification? If yes, which certification? Is it the GCP Cloud Engineer certification or the Professional Data Engineer certification?
There's only one certification in terms of data engineer, professional data engineer certification, right? So yeah, this curriculum is built considering data engineering course itself, right? Professional data engineering curriculum that's based on it, right?
Okay.
So
No, actually, first the levels are like associate cloud engineer, then we go for the professional data engineer. So if you are covering professional data engineer, then I suppose that we are almost we can represent ourselves as 2 3 years of experience into the market like that.
no, that's a myth, man. Believe me, that's a myth. I have more than 6 years of experience on GCP. I got certified long time back, not recently, 4 years ago. Okay, okay. Um, See, associate cloud engineer is somebody who wants to also look at different products and services. Right now, the course itself is more focused on data engineering. Right now, if you kind of understand this course, you can, I mean, with little bit of practice, definitely. I say I don't want to give a false promise saying yeah hey Soumya, you do this 30 days course and you'll be able to crack data engineer. I know people who are not able to crack associate data engineer also by taking a lot of different courses also, right? So for any exam, you're gonna prepare well, but this course is more focused from data engineering perspective. Now, when you target this course, you can also give exam for associate cloud engineer, right? This maybe I would say 10% of different things, which you'll have to, also consider as part of associate cloud engineer, right? But again, data engineer covers a lot of it, right? So you should be able to target data engineering professional certificate directly. I don't see any issues there.
Okay. So another thing, like today you covered the pipeline for data fusion. Uh, so is the data fusion class over, or are you going to cover in brief
No,
in other?
definitely we will cover definitely again. So this is a demo session, right? Now data fusion will come again at the end. Now we'll start with fun. See again. Now I wanted everybody to have a basic understanding of the use case. Forget about the tool what we have used. My intention is what a data engineering pipeline will look like. Now, what does a data engineer do, right? Now, to build this pipeline, who does not have any knowledge on data engineering, right? It will the whatever the basic sample pipeline which I showed it to you, it will take 2 days or 2 3 days, right? Which I've shown it in 15 minutes, right? So we will definitely do a detailed lab. We'll do a hands-on. We'll try to create a instance. Everybody on the team, right? So we will do a breakout sessions kind of a thing. Let's say we have four people doing some part of the project, four people doing some other part of the project, and then we'll do a complete end-to-end project, right? We'll touch base this again. I hope I answered your questions.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing, like for the certification, will you be also providing some kind of dump for the questions where we can prepare our
I
examination?
myself don't have any dump. I did not go through any dumps, but I'll tell you what. So the lot of options. See, I mean, it is not just to get yourself certified, right? It is to improve your knowledge. Now, the lot of Cloud Next is one program where every year Google Cloud organizes that. Different time zones, different regions. It happens in APAC, EMEA, LATAM, North America regions and all, right? You'll have access to their, you can register to that, and you can have access to the content, right? And I can provide you through some kind of cheat sheets where you could, quickly prepare for the exams. But there's no dump available for me with me, right? So I say, hey Soumya, this is a question you gonna see it in exam, right? I did not pass myself that way, so
No, I was
I don't have
just
that.
yeah, yeah. No, not asking for question paper or something like that. Like there will be some 100, 200 questions, like so, which are repeated questions which might come in.
I did not see them as such, but I can definitely inquire, right? If there is any dumps available. See again, maybe as in this world, everything is very rapid. Now you have ChatGPT. You just go ask it, generate some 200 questions for professional data engineer course. It's gonna give you in a minute. Right now, the world is very very rapid. Right. So yeah, we can figure out a way. My end goal is how do we get ourselves certified, right? So we have a lot of different ways, and what I will try to do as part of this course is to give you guys guidance where you could get yourself certified, right? That's how the course will be. Nice question, Soumya. Thanks for bringing it up. I know few people also has got questions. Please feel free to ask. I don't know what's everybody's background there. Is it first time GCP course you guys are attending to, or you guys have some background there, or college graduates or experienced folks? Nagarajan, you opened up.
Yeah. Naveen,
Spotlight. Go
so
ahead, please.
if I want to become a GCP data engineer, then I
Mhm.
can learn whichever you are going to cover in the curriculum. or I
Correct.
can learn beyond this, like any Python or something. I need to learn extra things.
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
No, no. Apart from this curriculum,
Mhm.
if I want to become a data engineer, I need to learn Python or some other scripting language also.
Okay. What do you have any experience on any programming skills? Nagarajan? Maybe if I try to ask you a question again, do you have any experience?
Program, not, I don't have much experience, but I have some basic knowledge.
You have SQL or Python or what Java? What
SQL, I have worked in Hadoop.
you worked on SQL? That is a
Yes.
very that's one of the powerful tools for data engineering to go ahead with. Without even Python, see again
Mm,
now if you remember, I spoke about three products in a curriculum. The reason I stressed is Dataproc is heavily relied on PySpark or Spark kind of thing. You have pre-built templates. You could use them. Now whatever we did as part of this today's use case to read data from GCS and write to BigQuery, we could use that. We could do that using PySpark as well, right?
mm,
Now Dataproc is a product which is focused on Python and PySpark thing. Now, if you have Python experience, it's going to be a faster for you. If you don't
mm,
have, we will touch base some basics of it. How do we go through it? And as part of our templates, we'll go through how data transformations or data extraction will look like. But
mhm,
if you wanted to be an expert on the data proc side, yes,
mm.
you need to have some additional programming knowledge on Python or PySpark, to be honest with you. But
Okay.
but do you need only Python to do data engineering? No.
Mm, okay.
There's a lot of data engineers who don't know Python or PySpark, but
Mm,
SQL. Now, for example, if you are expert on data fusion,
mm,
three products. Let's say you are expert on data fusion. Maybe you will write up your profile saying you have data fusion experience. There's nowhere Python you are used, but you are still able to generate scalable, enterprise scale pipelines, data engineering pipelines, which a lot of companies use, right?
mm, okay.
Yes. Questions, please. Sampath, Kiran, Rahi, Bona, you guys have got any questions? We'll just wait a couple of more minutes. If anybody has got any questions, just take them up. Just started at 8.5 or 8.7.
Are you using any scheduler tool in this?
Yes, now there is a product called Cloud Scheduler, which can schedule jobs. Now again, there's one another product called Cloud Composer, which will orchestrate. Let's say you have different products and services which are using it to run your jobs. You will use Cloud Composer as well, right? Which Soumya was talking about. It is built on an open source product called Apache Airflow Cloud Composer. So again, all these cloud providers, they have their product names which are built on top of an open source product, right? So we have a composer there. There's another product called Cloud Scheduler, and you also have inbuilt schedulers for data fusion, and you have schedulers in data prog and data flow as well. The products are being matured or getting matured more, but depending on the use case, we're going to pick up the scheduling things. Yes, to answer your questions, yes, scheduling options are available.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Nagarajan. Thanks for asking questions. That's really valuable. All right, guys, if no one has any questions, I think we're good for the day. We'll catch up ASAP. Thanks, guys. Wish you a good day.
Thank you.